Yeah. Okay, Instagram. Let's go here. It's like the last child who lags behind all the others in the line. There we go. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Thursday mornings, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. Hope you had a great day yesterday. We had some pretty flippin' amazing thunderstorms. I haven't yet seen the news to see what kind of damage might have been done. I don't see much here, but south of us, they had 80 and 90-mile-an-hour winds, so that wasn't too pleasant, I'm sure. Good morning, Barb. Welcome. Glad you are here. You're the first one popping on today. So we have an interesting chapter today, and by my use of the word chapter, you can probably guess who we're going to be talking about. Tosha Silver's Outrageous Openness. Good morning, Beth. Glad you are here. And interesting, outside gardening already. Good morning, Joe Neal. Glad you are here. Dig some dirt for us too. Yeah, everything got a nice drink yesterday. I'm sure there's branches down. It got pretty windy here, but nowhere near the 70, 80, 90 miles an hour winds they were having south of us. So haven't yet assessed damage, but we'll see. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome. Glad you are here. Practical Rebels rolling in one after the other here. This is good. So, want to tell you something that might be useful to you, and I can help expedite if need be. So, the tapping that we often do, that every morning we pick one spot and work on that, but oftentimes we will do a whole series as well. Main source that I utilize for tapping protocols, all kinds of things, is thetappingsolution.com. And they have a lot of free stuff on there that's very helpful. And there's a ton of research-based evidence for supporting that tapping is very helpful with depression, anxiety, etc. Well, today there was a post about using tapping with your pets. Good morning, Mel. Glad you're here. Welcome. So I thought that, especially on the heels of massive thunderstorms here, which usually certainly freaks out my sister's dog. So Rose was not a happy girl last night. But if you're interested in reading that article, feel free to send me the word article, Bonnie at empowermentandpurpose.com, and I'll get you hooked up. Otherwise, you can probably just go on their website, thetappingsolution.com, and hunt it up yourself. But I thought that was interesting that they are utilizing tapping for pets. Cool, cool, cool. So now let's take our favorite pet, ourselves, and let's do a little tapping. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, letting the shoulders drop. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose, hold at the top, out through the mouth. I might be doing some tapping tonight because my meditation group has asked if we can watch the video that I did the podcast with a friend of mine from Bell and Health who was talking with me about spirituality. So we're going to watch that tonight. I think that'll be kind of interesting. See how that goes. It felt to me like a sticking my neck out a ways kind of a thing, because I am sure anyone who's very fundamentally religious will not take kindly to some of my words. But thank you, Joniel. I appreciate that. I think it speaks for a lot of us. So on we go. On we go. Tosha Silver, Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Take the Lead. For those of you who have the book and like to follow along, we are on page 170. At least in my book, it's 170. I know some of the books are numbered differently, but it's called Hit the Road with God. Hit the road with spirit, with universe, whatever term works for you, but hit the road with God. It's an anonymous quote, and I will show you a third way, a hidden way. She says, I've become a rabid fan of divine order for one good reason. For all my supposed intelligence, I would routinely feel overwhelmed and frozen by life's never-ending problems and decisions. Anybody else ever get decision overwhelm? It's like, I cannot make one more decision today. You pick where we're going to go eat. Nowadays, I feel lucky that my personality's own limitations forced me to become dependent on the help of the cosmos. Perhaps if I had been born an efficient superwoman, I wouldn't have needed any of this. But learning to move with the divine flow changed my reality completely. It turned out what once was a road of total stress and fatigue is now one of comparative ease, or at least manageability. Wouldn't that be lovely? All the decision making we make day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year felt manageable. Good morning, Nancy. Welcome. Glad you are here. For instance, whenever I travel, I invoke divine order to open the way. It's like having a cosmic advance team. Ahead of departure, I imagine the whole trip surrounded by light and energy, saying, let every aspect of this journey unfold in harmony. Let divine order arrange and show me every detail. The right airline connections, lodging, and all else are already selected, and I will be guided to them easily. I follow the leads as they are shown. And I'll share an example of this. One of the group trips that we did with Terry Martin, who's a retired teacher from my children's high school, he does an amazing job on these trips. Well, one aspect of a particular trip fell through, and we were looking for an alternative. So he picked something, and he was concerned that we weren't going to like it. It wasn't going to go well, blah, blah, blah. Well, he needn't have worried. We were guided to this amazing man who is a shepherd, a farmer and a shepherd, and he had sheep grazing on a hill. And I mean, this hill was like almost vertical. It was so steep. And he did frequent demonstrations of his sheepdogs and what they're capable of doing. Oh my goodness, people. Oh my goodness. It was hilarious. It was amazing. It was so much fun watching the connection between the man and his dogs and the man and his sheep and the dogs and the sheep. So he'd have the dogs hunker down beside him. He'd click, he'd whistle, he'd snap his fingers. Those dogs would tear off. They'd cull out one particular sheep and bring it down, and halfway down the hill, he would make another sound and they'd stop right there. All of them, the sheep, the dogs, everything, stop. Then he'd click again and down they would come. It was just amazing. And the kids loved it. And the old people loved it. It was wonderful. Sometimes what doesn't work out isn't working out to clear space for what's meant to work out. Good morning, Carolyn. Glad you are here. Thank you for all the hearts. Love it. So she says, I've used this, the little saying that she has for invoking divine right timing and divine right order. I've used this to help create seats on previously sold out planes, find cheap rental cars, whisk through clogged security lines, and have an often fun, relaxed time under absolutely nutty conditions. Doesn't that sound like a great way to travel? Doesn't that sound like a great way to live life? Not every door opens like magic, although they sometimes do, but the way is eased or at least made tolerable. Maybe think of it like WD-40 on the etheric plane. I love that. We're just going to couple of spritzes and lube this thing up and away we go. Rather than depending on the push of the ego, you travel with abundant help. You feel as if you are in a holy chariot being carried to your destination. You're shown the right openings at the right time. But again, then it calls for us to be ready, willing, and able to step through those openings, right? And you can relax into what you're powerless to change until an alternate route is shown. So let's say you're sitting at the airport and all of a sudden they announce that your flight is canceled. Rather than being that jerk who freaks out and roars up and screams at people and whatever, What if you sat there and thought, I wonder how this is going to work out. I wonder what amazing things are going to become my opportunities now because of this change. Can you see how that would allow you to feel a whole lot better than the raving lunatic is going to feel? She's also then talking about other kinds of travel. So she says, before GPS systems and iPhones were ubiquitous, I was visiting Los Angeles when a gunman shut down all lanes on Highway 5. There I was, trapped outside Glendale, 35 miles from my destination, in a mass of cars solid as a glacier. After an hour, people were going pretty cuckoo. The beefy bald guy in the truck next started smashing his roof with something that looked like an anvil. I felt like I was in the sequel to Blade Runner. I called in divine order and spent the next hour crawling to an exit. Pulling into a gas station, I continued to pray. Then a preternaturally cheerful young woman at the next pump and I started to chat. I mean, can you just see this? This is Tosha Silver, right? Chat with people. Be out there sowing good. It turned out she too was heading for Long Beach, and she told me proudly that as a native, she knew how to do it all off freeway with shortcuts too. I followed the Debbie with the auburn ponytail in her sea green RX-7 through 100 twists and turns for the next 2 hours. She even waved me over once at a great taqueria. A half mile from my hotel, she flashed her lights goodbye. I silently thanked her with my whole heart for being the consummate guide. So again, there, she sent out the message, I need some help here, pulled into the gas station, and there was the Earth Angel at the next pump. Count on this stuff, guys. Count on what we need being there. Step out of the doubt. Okay, I'm open to receiving. I need some guidance here. So I'll share one of those that's totally right, but was last night. We had our Strong Towns Appleton meeting, and I was kind of questioning myself on, okay, how are we going to make some stuff happen here? We're building foundation. We've got great ideas. When is the doing going to start happening, right? And there's some grants up for grabs and stuff. And so was going to meet a friend and have a 15-minute conversation about something I needed help with, then was going to do a half-hour connection with some of the Strong Towns people early to deal with a specific issue, then was going to go to the meeting, right? Well, the sky got black, the wind started blowing, the rain started falling, and I'm like, I ain't going anywhere. So we decided that all of these particular meetings were going to be via Zoom. One ended up being a phone call as the person I was supposed to meet was driving home right into the storm. But the gist was I had asked, what's going to move us forward here? There actually were, so all of us were online, except for 2 new people who actually didn't get a message ahead of time saying, hey, we're going to meet online, blah, blah. So they actually went to the venue. The person who has that office was still there. So she sat with them while the rest of us were on Zoom. And both of those people, I think, are going to be integral in making things happen, moving things forward, being boots on the ground people. Yeah, it happens all the time. We just have to clear ourselves out, make the space. Yes, finding a perfect parking spot. Yes, 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 yes. Showing up early with the intention I'll be taken in early, like for a medical appointment, because that would help how the flow of the day goes. That's worked. Lots of things. And again, if something doesn't seem to work, don't assume that's not working. Assume that however it's unfolding is the divine right timing and the divine right order. Might not be our timing and order, but it is the divine right timing and the divine right order. So play around with this a little bit today. Put some intentions out there. See what happens. Notice, observe, be curious. There's all kinds of magic going on out there that we need to pay attention to. Yeah. So that's it for today. Have an awesome Thursday. We'll see you again very early tomorrow morning because it's Scarlet Day. Get to go see my baby, and then we get to go out for dinner because Lauren's birthday was yesterday. And so we're going to celebrate. Hope you all have an awesome day today. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are. See you tomorrow morning early. Bye bye.